Hello, my name's Curtis Hutchinson and I'm joined today by Rob Holden, a candidate for the Calderdale Council elections on the Ryburn ward. Rob is also standing in the Ripponden Parish Council elections as one of the candidates for change in the Barkisland ward. The elections take place on the 2nd of May and Rob's going to tell us why he thinks he's the ideal candidate. So hello, Rob.
Hi Curtis, nice to speak to you.
And you. So maybe if we start with, just a bit on your background. So have you ever been a councillor before?
I have, yes. I was a councillor for 4 years representing Ryburn up until last year when I came a very close second. So I've been convinced to give it another go and I'm going to stand again.
Yep. And what are your reasons for standing for the election in Ryburn?
Basically, it's to give Ryburn a voice. At present, we have we have three Conservative councillors that represent Ryburn, but they don't have their own voice. They're basically told which way they have to vote on every issue from their bosses in Brighouse, and it's time that we had a change. Some of the things that they've voted for in the past haven't benefited the area. And I think it's time that we had a change.
And your campaign is very much based around the candidates for change. So can you tell us a bit more about what that is all about?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I'm one of 12 candidates that are standing in the Ripponden Parish Council elections under the banner of Candidates for Change. And basically, it's a number of independent councillors who are canvassing under the same banner. We're all fairly like-minded in as much as we want the area to improve. We want to make sure that residents get value for money, which I don't think they've always had. If you consider that a good 50% of the parish council precept currently is paid on accommodation and staff costs. I think it's a bit poor when you consider that there's a lot of groups out there within the parish that could benefit from the money that's spent on administration rather than support. So that's one of the main reasons why we've all come together. We're all campaigning to improve the area.
And what would you say are the main issues that are actually affecting Ryburn, and how do you propose to deal with these issues?
There are a number. One of the main things is that Ryburn is seen as quite an affluent area, which on the whole it is. But that is to our detriment as far as council services and council funding is concerned. What we're trying to do is get a bit of a rebalance really and make sure that we can increase services in the area and not lose them. A prime example is the library in the centre of Ripponden. Now that's been at risk for a number of years, and 3 years ago I approached the parish council and suggested that they would take over the library on an asset transfer and move their offices into the library. It would mean a bit of a reconfiguration, but it would safeguard the future of the library. Also, in doing that, they've got the scope to then include things like a post office counter. They could have a police computer installed there, which would mean that the local police could be based, could operate from that centre. They could also act as a parcel drop-off and collection point. They could also have someone from Customer First at Calderdale Council come up 1 day a week to provide frontline services to the parish, rather than people having to travel into Calderdale to deal with council issues face to face. So there's a number of things that could be done with the building and turn it into a true community hub, rather than a library which is currently open 16 hours a week and is at risk of closure as council budgets tighten.
And this multi-purpose approach to the future of the library is a way of safeguarding it, really, isn't it?
Absolutely, it would safeguard the future for the whole of the Ryburn ward, which covers some 24 square miles. So it's a huge area, and to say that we have very little in as far as frontline services, it would safeguard it for us and give us value for money from Calderdale, which ideally is what we need.
Yeah. So Rob, tell me, what difference do you think an independent councillor can actually make?
Do you know, that's a question I've been asked numerous times, and especially on the doorstep. And most people say, "Oh, well, independent. You're only one person. You can't make any difference." Well, actually, it's quite the opposite. Quite often, especially at Calderdale, where it's such a finely balanced council politically, the independents have quite a lot of say, because our vote is just as important as every other vote, and quite often our vote can sway a decision one way or the other. Now, the beauty of being independent also is that my vote isn't whipped, so I can actually vote on any subject, no matter whether Labour have brought it up or whether the Conservatives or the Lib Dems, and I can vote on actually what's best for Ryburn, not for any one political party. So we're quite strong from that point of view.
Yeah. So tell me, Rob, do you get involved with any of the community groups in the area?
Yeah, I'm currently chair of the Ripponden Festival Group, which puts on an annual Christmas festival, which is well attended. On average, we have 5,000 visitors on the one day, which is remarkable, really, when you look at the size of the village. So I'm chair of that group. We're currently putting on a food and drink festival on May the 6th, and timing could be better, really. We're right in the midst of electioneering and so
Yes.
on, and we're also putting on a food and drink festival, but it's all in a good cause, and we raise money for local charities through that group as well.
Yeah. And in terms of key issues that you're focusing on, I understand that speeding and crime are both high on your agenda.
Absolutely. Speeding, whilst I was a councillor, was one of the main issues that was raised, along with crime, and that can range from vehicle crime to burglaries. We've seen a decrease in policing in Ryburn. When I was first elected, we had a community police officer, and we had 2 PCSOs and a number of patrols coming through the area. I think now we're actually down to 1 PCSO who he's expected to patrol the area 24 square miles on a push bike, which, you don't need to be Einstein to know that he's not going to be able to cover the area. And as good a guy as he is, he just can't possibly police that whole area. So
Yes.
we've got to start making a stand about it. Police precept is going up every year. If residents look on their council tax bills, they'll see yet another increase this year. And what are we actually getting for it? We're getting less and less year on year. Now, there were some people that blame the national government, and there's a lot to be said for that, and I'd agree with them. The amount of cuts to the police force has been horrendous, but we've still got to see a better allocation of policing, and more visibility of policing in the area.
And Rob, a final question for you. You're also standing for the parish council. So how will that work if you're elected to both?
Well, actually, I think it will work quite well, because it provides a bridge between 2 elected bodies. So and at present there are 2 parish councillors who are also ward councillors, and it does provide a good bridge. So if Calderdale are planning major changes in our area, that can be fed back to the parish, and if the parish have any concerns that they have about the area, they've got a direct link into the borough council. So it works really well, and it can be a useful tool to have to be able to have that bridge between the two.
Yeah, well, Rob, thank you very much for your time. So don't forget to vote for Rob Holden on the 2nd of May in both the Barkisland Parish and Ryburn ward, and the other candidates for change that Rob mentioned earlier in both Barkisland and Soyland. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Curtis.